My roommate is gay. I used to think he was the obedient puppy type guy, but it turns out he's actually a highly aggressive big bad wolf. To get my roommate to help this lazy bastard of a me do things, I deliberately flirted with him and called him husband. Hey husband, help me bring back some food. Husband, could you help me write a report? From initial confusion to reluctant acceptance to becoming completely obedient, he ended up doing everything I asked. Until one day, when I was trying to get a favor done and casually turned around to call someone else husband. The usually honest, good-natured roommate snapped instantly. One hand pinched my chin, the other smacked my ass. Husband is right here, he said darkly. Try calling someone else that again. That day, when I woke up naturally from sleep, the dorm was unusually quiet. I rolled over and, out of habit, opened WeChat, finding a contact saved as Sucker. I sent a voice message lazily. Husband, can you help me bring back a bowl of 8 treasure porridge and some soup dumplings from the cafeteria? After a moment, he replied with, 0 yuan, don't call me that with voice messages. Just type it. Still half asleep with a sore throat, I yawned and casually replied, okay, husband, whatever you say. And when you're back, help me pick up 3 packages from the parcel station too. The other side went silent for a long time. Finally, he sent back a wronged little, okay? I put my phone away and chuckled quietly. Honestly, I could already imagine Lu Chen gripping his phone, face burning red, awkward beyond belief. I felt a tiny bit guilty, but really only a tiny bit. Who told Lu Chen to be so good-tempered? If anyone else had his body and that handsome face, even with an average family background, they'd have been wild by now. But Lu Chen was different, quiet, reserved, went to class on time, left on time, worked part-time to earn money. When people flirted with him or teased him suggestively, he never understood. What little cleverness he had was completely sealed off. Not a crack of wind could get through. A textbook example of an honest, big, clueless guy. And me being a lazy piece of work, how could I possibly miss out on such a perfect tool? So I deliberately played innocent behind the scenes, calling him husband, flirting with him, teasing him, slowly making him do errands for me. From buying food and picking up packages, to helping me write assignments for various major courses, even washing my socks. Lu Chen went from shock and confusion to blushing protests, to his current state of silent obedience. Clearly, I'd already bent him. I crossed my legs smugly. Anyway, he had such a good temper. Even if he found out one day that I'd been playing with his feelings, he'd probably just swallow it quietly. Life really was that easy. After I finished washing up leisurely, Lu Chen had already returned to the dorm. He pulled over a stool and sat in front of my desk, head lowered, as he carefully scraped splinters off disposable chopsticks. His side profile was sharp and handsome. The white t-shirt clung faintly to the smooth lines of his muscles. Anyone who didn't know better would think a male celebrity was shooting a photo shoot. Then he turned to look at me, immediately stiff and awkward. Lin Yuan, I put your packages over there, and I bought breakfast. Come eat while it's hot. Okay, husband. I walked over with a bright smile, deliberately pressing close to him. I could clearly feel his muscles tense instantly. After transferring him the money, I picked up a soup dumpling and brought it to his lips. Thanks for your hard work, husband. Here, you eat one first. His eyes flickered. His Adam's apple bobbed. I already ate. Eat one more. Okay? Lu Chen obediently opened his mouth and bit into the dumpling, sneaking glances at me as he chewed. I pretended not to notice, still teasing. Is it good, husband? If it's good, have another one. No, you eat. You must be hungry. Okay. After I was done teasing, I didn't say much more, baring my head and happily eating. I completely ignored my tool. Lu Chen sat quietly beside me, watching me eat. So obedient. Suddenly, he spoke softly. Lin Yuan, are you busy this Saturday? Not sure. Why? I glanced at him. The big fool looked hesitant. What is it, husband? There's a basketball game on Saturday. I wanted you to come watch. So you want me to bring you water? I swallowed a bite lazily. No, not going. Too hot. Lu Chen pressed his lips together, disappointed. Okay. He didn't say anything else, just sat there quietly watching me eat. His dark eyes looked exactly like a scolded big dog, too scared to make a sound, only able to lie there silently. The dorm fell quiet, filled only with the sound of me eating, and yet I started feeling irritated. Why didn't this stupid dog ask again? Just one more time, and I might have reluctantly agreed, but he didn't. After another sip of porridge, I set the bowl down and forced a fake smile. I thought about it. I'll go on Saturday after all. I've never seen my husband play basketball. I bet you'll look really handsome. Lu Chen's eyes lit up instantly. Those drooping dog ears practically shot straight up. Saturday's sun was brutal enough to melt people. I cursed nonstop as I headed out. By the time I reached the basketball court, drenched in sweat, I realized there were quite a few idiots like me, standing around watching despite the heat. A lot of girls nearby kept mentioning one name over and over. Lu Chen. I stood in the shade, watching that tall figure running across the court, and clicked my tongue. This stupid dog looks poor and honest, but his luck with romance isn't bad at all. Good thing I got to him first and marked my territory. Otherwise, he'd already be getting ordered around by someone else. Maybe my calculating gaze was a little too obvious. Right after making a three-pointer, the boy on the court suddenly turned his head and looked straight at me. A handsome smile spread across his face instantly. I grinned back, gave him a thumbs up along with Lele, and shamelessly mouthed the word, husband. Go, Lu Chen. The tips of Lu Chen's ears turned even redder. It was hard to tell whether it was from the intense exercise, or the scorching sun, or maybe something else entirely, but either way, he played even more fiercely after that, stealing the spotlight completely. I whistled quietly to myself, nice. This trip wasn't a waste. Totally worth baking under the sun just to watch him show off. He really was handsomely on the eyes. Fine, I'd reward him by making him finish my report tonight. The game ended quickly. A crowd of girls rushed onto the court, handing water to the players they liked. I picked up the bottle I'd bought and was about to go give it to my stupid dog when a pretty girl beat me to it. She walked up to Lu Chen, face full of shy anticipation, and handed him a bottle of water. Lu Chen seemed to freeze, caught completely off guard. I stopped in my tracks. An uncomfortable feeling surged up in my chest. Lu Chen, I'm hungry, I called out bluntly. Lu Chen immediately turned toward me, completely ignoring the pretty girl in front of him, and walked straight over. He looked at me intently. Okay, I'll take you to eat. I carried the water all this way. I'm exhausted. Then I'll rub your hand for you? He stared at my hand with concern, wanting to touch it but not daring to. I shoved the bottle into his arms. Why don't you just carry it yourself, idiot? He chuckled softly, eyes still locked on me, burning hot. The irritation in my chest finally eased. I deliberately lowered my voice and teased him, husband, hurry up and drink. Okay. As he obediently drank the water, I lifted my eyelids in satisfaction, and over his shoulder shot a disdainful look at the girl whose attempt at flirting had failed. Lu Chen was my dog now. He only did what I told him to do. After eating together at the cafeteria, we walked back to the dorm along a shaded path. We chatted on and off, mostly me calling him husband nonstop just to tease him, while Lu Chen walked with his head down, face flushed, pure and innocent to an absurd degree. Husband, why are you walking so fast? I'm afraid you'll get too hot. Let's hurry back. If you know it's hot, why did you make me bring you water? Look, my face is all red from the sun. Sorry. I'll block the sun for you. As he spoke, he raised his hand to shade me. Of course, I wasn't about to refuse help from my tool. I slipped naturally into the shadow he created. Thanks, husband. I kept flirting without restraint. He instinctively glanced at my lips, then quickly looked away, his Adam's apple bobbing slightly. His hand shielding me from the sun grew even more serious. Just as we were about to reach the south dorm building, a couple kissing came into view. That kind of thing was common. I glanced at them, ready to walk past, but Lu Chen suddenly stopped. His eyes lingered on the couple again and again. I deliberately turned back. Lu Chen, what's wrong? He lifted his hand and pointed at them, looking a little dazed. They're kissing. So what? They're a couple. That happens all the time around here. As he spoke, his gaze fell on my lips, slightly dry from the sun. Lin Yuan, then can we kiss too? I froze. What the hell? This stupid dog was getting ideas. I rejected him immediately. Kiss what? What are we to each other? He looked confused. Aren't we a couple? You call me husband. I choked, then stubbornly shot back, panicked and guilty all at once. Calling you that means we have to kiss? Do you know what platonic love is? I don't. Then stop talking about kissing. Hurry up and go back. It's hot. I turned my head and walked off, face burning, but Lu Chen didn't follow. When I looked back, he was standing there alone, eyes downcast, like a wronged, honest house husband who'd just been bullied. Pitiful beyond words. Damn it. I ground my teeth. This stupid dog was getting harder to fool. He'd learned how to push his luck and ask for things. Should I just drop the innocent act or endure a little longer, keep flirting, and squeeze a few more errands out of him? I really didn't want to give up such an obedient dog, but my first kiss, there was no way I was going to trade that just to keep using him as a tool. Benefit versus purity battled in my head. After a brief internal war, I suddenly turned back, stomped hard on his foot, and blurted out, "Fine, I'll kiss you." In Lu Chen's suddenly darkened eyes, I flushed and gritted my teeth, threatening him. But no tongue. Got it? Before he could pull me behind a tree, the couple from earlier had already left. My face was dark red, ears burning, breathing heavy with anger. Unable to hold it in, I turned and punched the shoulder of the person following behind me. "I told you not to use your tongue," I hissed through clenched teeth. "You did it on purpose, didn't you?" Lu Chen's face was red too. He stood in front of me, head lowered, looking pure and stupidly honest. "Lin Yuan, I just couldn't help it for a moment. I won't bite you next time." Next time? My eyes flew open. I could practically see his thoughts written all over his face. Errand boys weren't irreplaceable. If I ditched him, I could always find a more obedient tool. But once my purity was gone, how was I supposed to survive after that? I might as well find a block of tofu and smash my head into it. Fine, that was it. I was done with him. I made up my mind and spoke viciously. "Lu Chen, I think we..." Before I could finish, Lu Chen interrupted me, looking up at me with pitiful eyes. "When we get back to the dorm, I'll finish that major assignment for you immediately. I'll also do the elective course PPT. I'll write the proposal for the innovation competition and put your name on it. You'll get more credits and it'll look great on your resume." I was wrong. Please don't be angry, okay? All the anger I'd carefully built up was instantly wrapped in a barrage of sweet, irresistible promises. Every bit of rage got stuck in my throat, damn it. Now I couldn't dump him even if I wanted to. No one else would go this far for me. If I changed targets, I'd have to start over from scratch. Way too much effort. And honestly, without him, this lazy bastard of a me would actually miss him. After weighing the pros and cons again, I swallowed every curse, switched seamlessly into a sweet, obedient smile, and said softly, "Husband, how could I be angry? I was just a little shy. You were a bit intense just now. Be gentler next time, okay? I like gentle kisses." Lu Chen's ears turned even redder. He lifted his hand with clear concern, staring at my lips, gradually reddening, slightly swollen, still damp. "I'm sorry, I'll be more careful next time," he said. "By the way, and what were you about to say just now?" Lu Chen asked the question honestly, like he'd suddenly remembered something. I shook my head, putting on an innocent face. "Nothing, I was just saying we should head back to the dorm. I'm sleepy, husband." "Okay." Lu Chen took my hand and guided me around the crowd, walking along the shaded path toward Nankin. His side profile was handsome, his expression obedient and gentle. Walking half a step behind him, I forced a smile through my lingering irritation. When he wasn't paying attention, I quietly raised my hand and wiped the moisture from my lips. Strange. Why did it suddenly feel like I'd lost both the lady and the soldiers? Like I'd somehow ended up being the one controlled? That night, Lu Chen really did sit down and write my major assignment. After showering, I lay on my bed, joked around a bit, calling him husband a couple more times to keep him in line, then drifted off to sleep comfortably. I was woken up by the noise of our roommate, Ajay, coming back. I pulled the bed curtain aside, eyes half open. "AG, didn't you go meet your online crush in real life? Why are you back so early?" AG immediately realized he'd woken me and apologized quickly, then let out a long sigh. You guys have no idea. That online date of mine was a guy. That bombshell of gossip was so shocking that even Lu Chen, who'd been sitting with his back to us, quietly doing homework, turned around to look. AG wailed, "I thought it was a soft, cute, sweet girl. Turns out what he pulled out was bigger than mine." I freaked out and ran. I laughed helplessly. "So you're actually scared of gay guys?" AG clicked his tongue. Hey, I'm not scared. I just can't accept a man who's rougher than me. If he were like you, fair-skinned, good-looking, I might be able to tolerate it. As he spoke, he deliberately reached out and touched my face. I slapped his hand away immediately and told him to get lost. Aji laughed sheepishly, clearly feeling a bit better, and went over to his wardrobe to change clothes. I yawned, ready to pull the curtain back and continue sleeping. At that moment, Lu Chen, who had barely spoken a word and had been buried in his assignment, suddenly stood up. He walked straight to my bed, a pair of dark, steady eyes calmly fixed on me. With the bunk bed set up, bed on top, desk below, it was rare for my line of sight to actually be higher than his. Aji was still changing, his back to us, completely unaware of what was happening. I smiled and lightly poked Lu Chen's head, lowering my voice teasingly. Husband, what is it? Why are you staring? Lower your head, okay? I shuffled back a little, confused, thinking he wanted to whisper something to me. But the next second, Lu Chen lifted his hand, pressed firmly against the back of my neck, leaned in silently and fast, and kissed me. My entire body went numb. Was he insane? Lin Yuan, tell me, Aji said suddenly, bending down to drag his slippers over, still not turning around. Should I go beat up that online date? If I don't, I won't be able to let this go. I panicked and tried to tilt my head back to dodge Lu Chen's kiss. But his grip tightened, firmer, more forceful. He bit down on my lower lip. It hurt. I couldn't stop myself from letting out a soft whimper. Aji misunderstood it as agreement and immediately got excited. You think I should too, right? But I'm worried the two of us won't be able to take him down. How about you come with me, Lu Chen? You're tall and built. Just standing there gives off serious tough guy vibes. Lu Chen? Aji picked up his shoes, still busy, still not turning around. Meanwhile, the Lu Chen being called by name was pressed against my lips and replied slowly, voice muffled, yeah, sure. Great, with you guys I feel at ease, Aji said cheerfully. When Ahao gets back, we'll go together. I refuse to believe we can't beat that scammer. As Aji continued changing clothes, rustling sounds, endless complaining, Lu Chen's hand slid up to my face, rubbing lightly over the exact spot Aji had jokingly touched earlier. He rubbed it back and forth a few times, then moved downward. Next thing I knew, he pinched my chin and kissed me even harder. Clinging to the last shred of sanity I had, I grabbed his ear and tugged hard, hissing a warning. Enough. Lu Chen, Aji's still here. Are you crazy? Lu Chen seemed not to feel the pain at all. Still kissing me, he replied calmly, almost lazily. I've been writing your assignment for a while. I'm a little tired. Just wanted to kiss you to find some inspiration. That ridiculous excuse left me unable for a moment to slap him and tell him to get lost. I endured it for that damn major assignment. My first kiss was already gone anyway. One more wouldn't make it that much worse. So I swallowed the frustration, put on a pitiful expression, and whispered, then, do you have inspiration now? No, one more kiss, okay? Could I say no? Of course I couldn't. I nodded tearfully and lowered my head, actively making it easier for this stupid dog to kiss me. Just get it over with already. By the time Aji finally finished changing and turned around, Lu Chen was already back at his seat, calmly continuing to write my assignment, expression honest and composed. Meanwhile, I was sprawled at the edge of my bed, breathing fast, face burning red, ears on fire. My back was slick with sweat. I couldn't even tell whether it was from nerves or sheer embarrassment. Aji asked with concern, Lin Yuan, what's wrong with you? I covered my face, voice weak. I'm just a little tired. I'm going to sleep. Good night. I immediately pulled the curtain shut. Then, inside the darkness, I punched the air furiously and screamed silently. He's insane. Lu Chen is absolutely insane. That once honest, obedient, easily teased, stupid dog has completely changed. Now he wasn't just taking initiative to act shameless. He was launching surprise attacks too. While I was fuming, a faint sense of doubt crept in again. That strange feeling from before resurfaced. I quietly pulled the curtain open a crack and frowned as I watched the boy writing things for me. Why did it feel like Lu Chen wasn't as harmless or gentle as he appeared on the surface? But for a while after that, Lu Chen behaved perfectly normal. Just as honest and obedient as ever. Still blushing every time I called him husband, aside from continuing to be my tool, he became clingier and a little twisted because he kept staring at me in silence. That look clearly said he wanted to kiss me. I gritted my teeth and told him to mind his boundaries. He would still sneak in kisses whenever no one was paying attention. Over time, I went numb. My sense of shame shattered bit by bit, like it had been glued together with cheap 502 and couldn't stand upright anymore. I endured it. As long as my underwear stayed on, it was fine. Thankfully, the assignments and reports Lu Chen helped me with all went smoothly. I got high scores after turning them in, passed the innovation competition under my name, and happily pocketed both credits and ranking points. Next semester's basic scholarship was basically guaranteed. After being praised by my advisor for a good while, I walked back to the dorm glowing with pride. Not bad. I'd lost the purity of my lips, but in exchange, my future looked bright. Lu Chen deserved credit for that. I really was far-sighted, strategic, masterful at planning, just a little unethical. Thinking that this stupid dog had finally outlived his usefulness, I decided to show one last bit of kindness, treat him to a meal, then find an excuse to dump him, and afterward look for a new tool. Yet the moment that thought surfaced, a trace of reluctance inexplicably welled up inside me. I shook my head hard, forcing it away. I'm straight, just eat with him once, then end it. I figured Lu Chen was probably working part-time at an off-campus restaurant, so I decided to lower myself and go find him for once. But just as I reached the restaurant entrance, a commotion broke out inside. I looked closer. A man, clearly drunk, was harassing a female customer at a nearby table, insisting on adding her on WeChat and forcing her to drink with him. After being politely rejected, he started swearing, his hands getting grabby. On top of that, the idiot was fat and intimidating, so no one dared step in. My face darkened, and I was about to walk over when a familiar figure beat me to it. With one hand, he grabbed the pig-faced drunk, twisted his arm behind his back, and slammed him onto the table. His side profile was sharp, his movement swift. Bang! It didn't look like much force was used, but the drunk immediately howled and begged for mercy. He gestured for someone to call the police, and the chaos finally subsided. Standing among the onlookers, I stared blankly at the cold, fierce-looking, handsome waiter who was being shyly thanked by the female customer. Was this really my stupid dog roommate, Lu Chen? This was clearly a wild, untamable dog. Maybe my stare was too stunned. The boy who'd been speaking suddenly turned his head toward me. His pupils shrank slightly. Before I could react, he rushed over just like usual, stopping obediently in front of me, like a big dog spotting its owner, tail wagging wildly, tongue practically hanging out. Lin Yuan, why are you here? Did that mess scare you just now? Don't be afraid. We get drunk troublemakers all the time. Our boss is a woman and can't control the scene, so she gives me an extra 50 yuan a day to play tough. He showed me his phone eagerly. Look, the 50 already came through. I'll buy you milk tea later, okay? Looking at Lu Chen, still honest-faced, though the lingering adrenaline hadn't fully faded, the doubts in my heart finally eased. Right, he was just short on money. Of course he'd risk it all for 50 yan. Even though I treated him like a tool, I never stiffed him on money. Now he'd done a good deed for 50 yan, and still wanted to buy me milk tea. What a stupid dog. The breakup speech I'd prepared was reluctantly swallowed back down, my emotions turning complicated and hard to sort out. On the surface though, I smiled brightly, raised my hand to straighten his slightly messy hair, and whispered praise. Husband, you were so handsome beating that guy just now. I loved it. As long as you liked it, he said shyly. When do you get off work? Lu Chen looked at me and answered obediently. In 1 more hour. Can you hurry up? Are you hungry? He grew anxious. I shook my head. My hand slid down, brushing the corner of his mouth seemingly by accident. Lowering my voice, I teased. I just want to kiss you. Is that okay? Consider it payment for you doing a good deed, earning money, and buying me milk tea. After that, Lu Chen's work efficiency shot through the roof, like he'd taken stimulants. I hated the greasy smell inside the restaurant, so I lazily waited outside. Not long after, Lu Chen jogged out, breathing a little hard, looking both excited and flustered. He'd changed out of his work uniform into his faded white t-shirt. I was surprised. That was fast. He stared straight at me. The boss let me leave early as a reward. Guess your boss has a conscience. Come on, I'll treat you to a meal. I turned around, about to